You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
12 noon.
It's credible and factual. The World at Noon on Nationwide 90 FM.
Good afternoon, I'm Andrew Cannon. In the World at Noon for this Sunday, October 20, 2024, over $38 million in cash seized by the police during another search in the continuing investigation into suspected lottery scamming activities in St. Catherine. PMP demands the immediate release of the full Finsac report. Member of Parliament Matthew Somuda says the country is on track to meet its climate change mitigation targets and its nationally determined contribution commitments. In regional news, with little electricity, Cuba girds for a hurricane. On the international scene, Trump supported Elon Musk to give away $1 million per day to Pennsylvania voters, while in sports, league leaders Montego Bay United will start favourites when they play to Humberland in the 6th round of the Ray & Nephew Jamaica Premier League. The details after this.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
The police are reporting that an additional $38.3 million in cash has been seized during a secondary search in the continuing investigation into suspected lottery scamming activities in St. Catherine. This additional seizure was made on Saturday, October 19, during a multiple agency operation as detectives revisited a property on St. Vincent Boulevard and Caribbean Estate, Portmore, where officers had previously recovered over $100 million. The latest seizure brings the total amount seized to $90 million in Jamaican currency. The operation, which took place between 11:30 a.m. and 7:10 p.m., was led by detectives from the National Strategic Anti-Gang Division (NSAD), with support from the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency (MOCA) and the Financial Investigation Division (FID) and the Caribbean Search Center. During the search, which was carried out in the presence of the suspects, investigators also recovered 2 electronic devices, a currency counting machine, financial documents, luxury receipts, and designer handbags. According to the police, the couple's attorney was also present during the operation. In addition to the house search, previously seized motor vehicles were inspected and financial documents found within the vehicles were taken for investigation. The police believe that these developments are expected to bolster the ongoing probe. Meanwhile, investigators have confirmed that the scope of the investigation has expanded beyond what was suspected to be lottery scamming activities. According to the police, charges against the suspects are expected to be laid in the coming days as the investigation progresses. The opposition People's National Party, PNP, is demanding the immediate release of the full Finsac report. According to the PNP, the government has mishandled the Finsac Commission and is condemning what it calls the failure to deliver the long-promised report. In a release, the opposition claims that after more than $200 million of taxpayers' money was spent on the commission, the Jamaican people are left with an incomplete archive and no final report almost 15 years later. The PNP has characterized the situation as a travesty of accountability and good governance. The Finsac Commission was established to assess and investigate the causes and consequences of the 1990s financial crisis that resulted in the closures of several financial institutions as well as the crash of several businesses, coupled with the declaration of bankruptcy by several individuals. It has been noted by the opposition that in 2017, then Finance Minister Oatley Shaw promised that the Finsac report was just 3 months away, but 7 years later, that promise remains unfulfilled. The party further notes that the Finsac commissioners were fully paid in January 2015 and is asserting that the Jamaican people will not stand for further delays, excuses, or hidden agendas. Member of Parliament Matthew Somuda says the country is on track to meet its climate change mitigation targets and its nationally determined contribution commitments. Speaking at the UTEC International Climate Change Conference on Friday, MP Somuda explained that the government is making progress on projects intended to generate more clean energy.
The first is we await the final license from the OUR for the implementation of a 100-acre solar farm floating on the Mona Reservoir, which will generate 45 megawatts of clean energy. We expect that to happen in the coming months. That's a project that doesn't use government resources. That's not us, in many ways, cowering and begging the multilaterals and our bilateral partners for investment. There's an economic model that allows an investor to come in, save the country significant money, doesn't take up our capital space, while allowing them to make sufficient return on their investment.
He also informed that the government has gone to market for 100 megawatts of clean energy and explained that the progress being made indicates that the country's mitigation targets are in reach.
There are several such examples that show the route to the NDCs being achieved, being our nationally determined contributions. So I'm not doubtful, despite some delays that we've had over the last 4 to 5 years, that our mitigation targets under our NDCs are indeed in reach. I'm not doubtful that these mitigation targets will allow us to have the moral authority to speak as forcefully as former Prime Minister Simpson Miller would have, as current Prime Minister Holness would have, as former principal director of the Climate Change Division would have in her many years of service.
Member of Parliament Matthew Somuda. Meanwhile, Kent Coipel, Jamaica's representative to the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation for Agriculture, ICA, says investments in agriculture are made increasingly vulnerable by the ongoing threat of climate change. Speaking at the Greenhouse Input Ceremony on Thursday, Coipel noted that adaptive technology must be utilized to reduce the risks posed to the country.
That is a significant aspect when we deal with greenhouse production, because it's not the easiest of science to grow things in the greenhouse and realize the greatest productivity. And more so, as we recognize in this new, I shouldn't say new, but this continuous issue of climate change, the continuous issue of the vulnerabilities of those investments to climate events, that we need to see how best we can employ adaptive options and technologies that can reduce our vulnerability. So it's always important that we continue the capacity building, not only among the greenhouse farmers, but also among the technicians and the researchers.
Coipel also explained that though ICA's mandate focuses on agriculture, the Institute recognizes the importance of developing disaster risk management strategies to safeguarding the agricultural sector.
ICA is not a disaster relief organization. It's a technical organization. However, it recognizes that the sector which forms core of its mandate, agriculture, will continue to be impacted at all levels by climate change impacts and other hazards. So as a leading agricultural and rural development institute in the Americas, ICA can continue to play a vital or fundamental role in the disaster mitigation and post-disaster recovery of the agricultural sector.
Jamaica's representative to the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation for Agriculture, Kent Coipel. He informed that ICA and its collaborating partners are developing a disaster risk response strategy that will enable coordinated and effective responses to disaster-affected member states. The Jamaican Judiciary is congratulating 4 High Court justices on receiving national honors. The honorees are the Honorable Justices David Batts, Evan Brown, Bertram Morrison, and Lorna Shelley Williams, who will be recognized for their exemplary contributions to the development of the judiciary. All 4 will receive the esteemed Order of Distinction at the annual National Awards ceremony set to be held on Monday morning. Chief Justice Brian Sykes commended the awardees for their exemplary service, stating that the award should be a celebration of excellence as well as a reminder of the work still to be done and an encouragement to continue striving to make Jamaica a better place. He also stated that the recognition of the justices comes at a time when the nation's judiciary has been excelling in various aspects of the daily operations of the judicial process, including backlog reduction and membership in the International Consortium for Court Excellence, among other achievements. The judiciary of Jamaica says they are proud of the outstanding contributions made by the justices and their achievements, which reflect the high standards of judicial excellence and public service. Let's now turn to news in the region. Cuba girded Sunday for a hit from Hurricane Oscar, bracing for more chaos and misery as it grapples with a nearly nationwide power outage now in its 3rd day. The arrival of Hurricane Oscar after the collapse Friday of Cuba's largest power plant crippled the whole national grid, while it piled more pressure on a country already battling sky-high inflation and shortages of food, medicine, fuel, and water. The storm was expected to make landfall in northeastern Cuba sometime Sunday afternoon or evening, the U.S. National Hurricane Center said in the latest bulletin. As of Sunday morning, Oscar was a Category 1 storm, packing maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour or 130 kilometers per hour, the National Hurricane Center said. President Miguel Diaz-Canel said Saturday in a post on social media that authorities in the east of the island were working hard to protect the people and economic resources given the imminent arrival of Hurricane Oscar. The Cuban president's office said in another post that progress had been made in restoring power, with 16% of consumers receiving electricity and approximately 500 megawatts being generated. But around midnight, the energy minister said a subsystem in western Cuba had collapsed. On the international scene, tech billionaire Elon Musk has said he will give away $1 million a day to a registered voter in the key swing state of Pennsylvania until the U.S. presidential election in November. The winner will be chosen at random from those who sign a pro-constitution petition by Mr. Musk's campaign group, America PAC, which he set up to support Republican nominee Donald Trump's bid to return to the White House. Let's now turn to sports. League leaders Montego Bay United will start favourites when they play away to 9th place Humberland in the 6th round of the Rio Nevio Jamaica Premier League at Effortville Community Centre this afternoon at 3. Montego Bay are on 12 points from 5 starts, while Humberland are yet to register a win this season with 4 points from their 5 starts. Meanwhile, Malines United go up against Arnett Gardens at Sabina Park at 5 p.m. Over at Ferdinita Park, Portmore United entertain Chapelton Maroons at 3 p.m. and the Wembley Centre of Excellence will come alive when Veer United host Dumble Holden. In the meantime, Waterhouse and Harbourview, they will lock horns in the feature match of a doubleheader on Monday at 7:30, while the early kickoff will see Tivoli Gardens tussling with Racing United at 5 p.m. And now for a recap of the top stories making the news at this hour. Over $38 million in cash seized by the police during another search in the continuing investigation into suspected lottery scamming activities in St. Catherine. PMP demands the immediate release of the full Finsac report. Ongoing threat of climate change makes investment in agriculture vulnerable, says Jamaica's representative to the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. And MP Matthew Sumida says Jamaica is on track to meet its climate change targets. You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News is next at 5 o'clock, but stay tuned for the amazing word.
Amazing Word is brought to you